Containment Episode 8, There is a Crack in Everything. Now, coming off of I believe it was just a 1 week break that we have for this show, I was pretty excited to get into it because it kind of ended like, hey, we have Thomas, who's basically the cure for everything. He's the cure for this virus. We really find out in this episode he's an actual cure. He's not just, someone who has the ability to give us a vaccine. He gives us an actual cure for this virus. And so we're still on day 11. We still have 2 more days to go. And I believe we have actually 2 more episodes to go as well, at least based on what I'm looking at. So, when they went through this episode, it's like, okay, things are happening. It's like, all right, they went through the process. The guy gets bit by the rat. They put him in the containment and everything. And he seems fine. Dr. Candace finds out that Thomas is actually able to create antibodies so he can make a cure, so the guy wouldn't be infected or anything like that. And it seems kind of nice. We have a lot of stuff going on. We have Jana and her crew, which the only thing that kind of surprised me about that is, after what happened in the last episode, we only saw 4 characters, but there were 6 people that were still there. So it's like we have we have a pregnant young girl, her boyfriend, and an unborn baby, and they just weren't in this episode. So I was really confused by what was going on with them. They didn't mention them at all, so not sure what was going on there. But Jan and her crew go to the Civil War tunnel. Their plan is to escape, but then when they actually go through with it, they find out that there's actually gas in the tunnel, and they have to kind of get the heck out of there. So I was kind of surprised by that. They actually made it work and everything, and then it's like, oh, we can't do this because there's gas in the tunnels, and they had to rescue the guys before they were down there and died. So they're trapped inside for now, at least. And then, of course, we have Lex on the outside, who's, he's been taking, he's lost his rank. He gets his rank back in this episode. He's going in for, like, the secret mission to get Thomas out, through a new secret sluice. He's button heads with the idiot guy who is officially, I don't know if I hate him more than the guy Janice with. I still haven't remembered his name, but the guy who's cheating on his wife. So that guy or the army dude, I can't tell which one of them I hate more. But the army guy is just dumb. I mean, he's doing all sorts of stupid stuff, like just everything they did. It's like, hey, we need to do this quietly. We can't have a bunch of people on top because that brings a bunch of suspicion. Like, why are these people suddenly here? And then he has a dude with a buzzsaw cutting through this thing. I'm like, that's super loud. And then they actually did it in the dialogue where Lex was like, what's he doing? He was like, oh, your guy wasn't making any progress. I was like, okay, so they did actually have a smart decision going on. Like, I would have thought it would have been like a blowtorch, which I would think would work way faster than a buzzsaw, but I guess I don't know. But it was just crazy. He's just like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. They had like lights and everything. It was like the brightest lights. He had like a bunch of people on top. And this dude's working with a buzz, so it's the middle of the night, but that's freaking loud. It's just wide open, middle of the night. Plus, it's nighttime, so it's one of those balance sort of deals where it's like, it's night, so people might be asleep. But that also means it'll attract more people because it's like, what is that super crazy loud noise that's happening by the wall? It's like, that sounds like something spinning and cutting through something, and people might figure that out, but ultimately it doesn't matter. They go through, they have their mission. Thomas is supposed to be put through the sluice. He gets in, and as he's going, like before they even have that scene where they're actually taking him to the sluice, we find out that Dr. Candace was wrong because the guy who was sick, he sneezed. And when it first happened, everything paused. It was like, everybody froze. The first thing I thought was, that could just be a sneeze. Like, that could have just been a sneeze. That's it. And then he was coughing, and then it's just like the rest of the show where everybody likes to cough on other people instead of coughing away. So those two, like the woman and the other guy, they're dead. They might as well drink that champagne because they're gonna die anyway. So all 3 of those people are toast. Candace bolts from the hospital to get to Thomas and say like, hey, we can't put him through because he's actually, I forgot what he said, but he can't be infected, but he can still infect other people, which is how the young girl gets infected because she kissed him on the cheek in this episode, which I knew was going to happen because I'm like, she gets sick somehow, and she kissed him on the cheek. As soon as that happened, before they even did the reveal at the end of the episode, the second she kissed, I was like, boom, she's dead. Like, that's how she gets infected. And of course, we find out that that's true. And who knows what that's going to lead to because they took off, and the doctor, no one at the hospital currently knows about, that girl kissing Thomas on the cheek. So who knows? I mean, that could be simple. Technically, that might not be how she got infected because they've kind of specified the stuff with the fluids and everything. Even though they're, of course, being extra cautious, just, don't even touch people that are infected, of course. But if it's transmitted through fluids and things like that, it's possible that she's fine, but I highly, highly doubt it. Forgot that my phone was actually on. But I feel like that would have to be the same. Like, as soon as she kissed him, I was like, boom, infected. Like, I didn't even think about the fact that he could probably, infect other people. But as soon as that happened, I was like, she's infected. Like, that's how it happens. It just made perfect sense. Like, he's invulnerable, but it's still all over him, possibly, at least. So I was like, that's how she gets infected. So that's probably what's really going to come up in the next episode, is how, maybe that's how they lose the hospital, because a big question is why, I kind of forgot everybody's name, to be totally honest. It's only been like a week, and I forgot everybody's name. But, why would the little girl, be in someone's arms when she was in the hospital, like, the whole series? It's like, hey, just take her down to quarantine. But if quarantine kind of got out of control, like, there is no quarantine if this little girl's sick, and she's just walking around, and everyone's like, hey, how's it going, and this and that. So maybe that's why, on day 13, she's, knocked out in the teacher's arms, because, there's no more quarantine. Like, things go crazy inside the hospital by the time they get back. And it's like she shook hands with this person or that person or anything random, and a bunch of extra people got infected that didn't even realize it. So I feel like that's what might happen in the next episode, and then we'll see, with day 13 exactly how that plays out. But it was pretty crazy. It was, a crazy ending, and they have it, they get him in there. Lex and Lommers are with him, and then the dude comes in and is like, hey, you gotta send him back out because he's actually infected and stuff like that. So they're trapped inside the sluice for 48 hours. Of course, when Thomas opens up the door and he's like screaming out loud, like, hey, everybody turns and looks, and it's like, the lady's like, they're letting people out. And of course people freak out because no one likes to look at the big picture because, they're freaked out. So it's just like, I don't care. I need to get out of here. I'm not, everyone assumes they're not infected, but nobody really knows. So it's about to get crazy in this next episode. I assume, based on the military guy, I don't think he's going to have any issue shooting all those people, to be totally honest. I don't think he'll care in the slightest. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm pretty sure Lex and Lommers, neither of them were infected because, he touched them. And, like I said, the whole thing with fluids and all that stuff. Plus, he was wearing gloves and everything. So it's like, that, unless it changed, they're going to do that where it mutates within the last 2 episodes of the show. I highly doubt anything's going to happen, and they'll be let out by the end of the next episode, I'm sure. But crazy freaking episode. Now we're going to have a bunch of people, just like with the ladder. It's a little different because those people were like right there. But like I said, we still don't know if they're infected or not. And I'm sure some of them are. And who knows, some of them may have been at the church. I don't know if that guy who was actually doing the prayers was sick, but he sure found a way to make himself sick. All those people were super sick and coughing and crap, and he's just like doing prayers and stuff. I'm like, that's, religion. People have their beliefs. So if you want to risk it, you do, and that's what he wanted to do. So I was like, that's real risky. But we had that. We had a little relationship stuff in this, which in a sense it surprised me, but not really. The only thing that surprised me was how serious it got in this episode, where I want to say Jake. I don't know how I forgot the names after just 1 week, and I can't remember. I remember Brady. I don't know. I guess because his names were Brady, Xander, and Lex, and Jana. I remember like the names, but it had to be Jake. Just how serious he got, where he was like, there's not a version of my life without you. I thought that was insanely serious for. This was day 11, so I just thought that was a little serious for them. I was like, I know he has feelings, and she has feelings for him and stuff, and they agree to it, and they have their weird cover thing, shower curtain makeout scene, which I thought was really weird. I was like, I don't know why they're doing this, but I guess that just means they're officially going to be together, because he was like, oh, like she kind of shut him down at first. It's like, hey, if we don't ever see each other again, this was great. And so he kind of had to, let her know how he really felt. So they'll be fine if they both survive, which I assume they will. Like, that would be a nice twist, because, well, it wouldn't be a nice twist, but it would be a twist if some of the main characters actually died, because so far, everyone's kind of made it through, but we have 2 more episodes, and we just don't know. There are a lot of questions up in the air. We still have, a young pregnant mother and possibly her mother. I said that last time. We still don't know if her mother was actually infected, but she was bit, so we just don't really know. And that guy was he could have been infected, but he was clearly like just doped up, so maybe he was clean. Some of those people were clearly sick, and then that guy could have been one of the people that was sick, but we don't really know that just yet. Like, she could pop up in the next episode or in the final episode and save her daughter or something crazy like that. So there's just a lot of questions still with these last 2 episodes, but definitely excited for it. I thought this was, especially by the end, it got really nuts, and I just don't know what's going to happen. And we also find out, I totally skipped over this, we find out exactly who Patient Zero is, and we find out that Cannons was the one who actually made the virus, or at least that's what, it's believed, is that Cannons is the one that actually made it himself. So, I don't know how that's really going to play out. We have, Lex, who's trapped in the sluice, so, of course, we have our reporter, who's kind of just, he's kind of got nothing that he can do now, because it was just him and Lex working together. So, Leo's just like out on his own. And I don't know how that's going to play out for him. He's got his contacts, but there's not really much else that he can do. Like, he can't get in touch with Jake. He can't really do much else unless he tries to meet up with Xander again and says, like, hey, this is what's happening, just so you know. And I don't know, maybe find a way to spread it that way. I'm not sure, but I don't know. It's crazy. It's just some crazy reveals, and we got some crazy issues, and a lot of people I think are going to get killed in this next episode. And then, of course, that explains Day 13, where everyone, like the military is going through in the sluice and they're just laying people out. I don't know. Maybe that's because they're trying to get to Cannerts, and he doesn't want to come in because it's like, I don't want to be arrested or sent to prison for the rest of my life for making this virus. Or also, there's just so many reasons why that could happen at this point, at least. So I don't know. I'm excited for it. 2 more episodes to go. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and I definitely want to know what you guys think is going to happen with. This is like the second time it's happened. We already saw somebody get hurt and get killed, really, trying to escape. So we've already had that happen, and now it's even easier because it's just this little panel. Enough people push on that thing, it'll bend in. I'm sure at some point it certainly would. So there's just a mass of people on this tiny little entrance door. They can find a way to just by force push that thing in, and like I said, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to get killed. I don't, the guy's clearly shown that he doesn't care what's even smart, to be totally honest. So I think he'll just shoot up a bunch of people. But I want to know what you guys think is going to happen in this next episode. And of course, what you guys thought about this one in general. So please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.